Isn't this cup like so freaking cute? It's not mine, it's my sister's, but I stole it for this video. Hello everyone, I am Sammy, your devoted manga otaku, and welcome to my manga space. Before I start this video, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has supported me thus far by watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing to my videos. It's your guys' love and encouragement that makes these videos and my channel a reality. So, thank you so much for everything. This will be a spoiler-free review of the first 5 volumes of Living Room Matsunaga-san by Keiko Iwashita. This is a shoujo slice-of-life romance. It's rated 16+, and it's published by Kodansha Comics. This series debuted digitally in December 2017, with its first printed release in January of 2020. There are 5 volumes available in print and 8 volumes available as ebooks. But I have found release dates for volumes 9 and 10, so the series is going to be at least 10 volumes long. The paperback release dates for volumes 6 and 7 are in May and June of 2021, and I'm kind of bummed because the manga's release dates keep getting pushed back. Originally, volume 6 was supposed to come out in March, and then it got pushed back to April, and then it got pushed back to May. I'm assuming it's because of the pandemic, but I don't know for sure. All I know is that it just really sucks. It's worth mentioning that this manga is an age gap romance, so if that bothers you, I would be cautious. I'm going to be touching more on that subject in my review, so if you're on the fence, I'd suggest sticking around so that you have more information before deciding if this manga is right for you. Okay friends, I invite you to grab a tea or other beverage of your choice, and let's talk manga. Living Room Matsunaga-san is about a girl, Miko Sanada. She's 17 years old and she's in her 2nd year of high school. Her parents have moved into the country to care for her grandmother, who is in poor health. Now it's decided that Miko will stay with her uncle in the city so that she can keep attending school, but her uncle travels for business quite a bit. Luckily, there is a room available in her uncle's share house or boarding house where Miko can stay and have people around. Once there, Miko meets a variety of unusual and unique tenants, including the oldest of the group, hot-headed and handsome Jun Matsunaga. With the help of her housemates, Miko begins to acclimatize to her life in the boarding house. Even the initially frightening Matsunaga-san helps her out, and soon enough, between one kind act and another, Miko finds herself falling for him. Before we get into it, I just need to say that I loved this manga. It's probably in my top 10 favorite manga. It's so good. I write notes for my reviews while I'm reading, and I think I wrote, "This manga makes me smile a lot," like 10 times. I actually picked up the whole series without even reading the synopsis, but I just had a feeling that I would love this manga. I mean, look at this cover. Or should I say, look at this particular character on this cover. I was just drawn to how he's drawn. What can I say? I have a weakness for men with glasses. So in the first volume, you're introduced to this boarding house setting, and let me tell you, I was not excited for that at all. I just didn't think I would like it because I was reminded of the dormitory hotel vibe in Love Hina. But by the end of the volume, I really warmed up to it. Iwashita sensei uses the boarding house to create hilarious comedic misunderstandings, along with these adorable, wholesome exchanges between characters. Another detail I appreciated in this share house environment was the whiteboard in the living room. The tenants are able to write messages to the others, things like their schedules, uplifting comments, and important dates or events. It really makes the surroundings feel homey, like everyone is a big family. So Miko steps into this new environment that is completely foreign to her, and it kind of opens her eyes a bit to adult life. She realizes that people are always coming and going as they're working. Everyone is responsible for their own meals and laundry, and I enjoyed watching Miko, with the help of the housemates, navigate this new normal. When Miko first arrives at the house, there is an incident between her and Jun Matsunaga, and Miko doesn't really know what to think of him. At first, she thinks he's a scary, loud, bossy guy, and he is. But throughout the story, Miko also learns that Jun is really kind and keen on helping Miko get along with everyone. There's one point in the story where Miko needs help with something, but she doesn't want to burden anyone, and Matsunaga-san figures it out. And when confronting her, he says, "We share a house, don't we? Makes sense to share our troubles too." And this quote really resonated with me, and it sort of sets the stage for one of the major themes of this manga, which is simply just helping each other or helping in general. It's at this point that Miko starts catching feelings for Jun, but she doesn't think a relationship with him is feasible or possible, so she keeps her budding feelings to herself. Little does Miko know that she's living in a romance shoujo. Okay, so after the second volume, you get to see more of Jun's feelings, and honestly, he's kind of oblivious. Jun is constantly helping Miko, but after a while, he has to ask himself, why am I being so supportive of Miko? What are my intentions? He reminds me a lot of Tamaki from Oren High School Host Club, in that Matsunaga-san at first sees himself as a parental figure or brotherly figure towards Miko. But as the story progresses, he lets little tells go, like blushing at cute moments and becoming nervous in certain situations. In the later volumes, the storyline begins to build towards some drama, some turmoil. There is a hint towards a possible love triangle, or maybe even a couple love triangles, but we'll see. I like that the drama in this manga is realistically written and never feels completely unbelievable. Now that we've learned more about the characters and they're more established, I'm super excited to see a little commotion happen, just so long as my ship sails at the end, of course. In regards to the ooey gooiness of this romance though, I don't really think this will become that, or at least not for a while. I think the romance is more pure and innocent because of the age gap between the main characters. It's 11 years. Now I'm all for an age gap romance, but I was curious as to how Iwashita sensei would write Miko and Jun's relationship. And the answer is very, very well. Miko, being a high schooler, comes up in conversation quite a bit in the boarding house. There is an open dialogue about the age of these characters, and everyone is very aware of the age gap. In regards to how Jun treats Miko, he's very respectful, and it's actually really heartwarming. I like that there isn't a toxic power dynamic between Jun and Miko, and I never got a creepy or predatory vibe from him. And even though Jun starts to get impulses later in the story, I don't see him acting on them anytime soon. I will admit, watching him squirm has been a very amusing part of the manga. There is a well-established pattern to the plot at times, but the teasingly sweet moments between Jun and Miko and the manga's gorgeous art style kept capturing my attention, and it kept me interested. I can't say I ever grew bored or uninterested while reading this. I was mostly at the edge of my seat the entire time. I even skipped the bonus stories and notes because I just had to know what happens next. Don't worry though, I went back and reread everything I missed after I was done the series. Now, I absolutely need to give the art style its own moment to shine in this review because it is stunning. I am amazed at how well Iwashita sensei differentiates age between characters, not just by their actions, but also by the words they use and how they carry themselves, all of which feels vital to the story. For example, it's easy to tell that Asako, one of the female tenants, is older than Miko. How? Well, Miko is drawn a head shorter than Asako, her head and eyes are slightly bigger, she is often depicted in timid or insecure body positions, and her face is always red from blushing. Asako, on the other hand, has a thinner face and frame, she rarely blushes, and her mannerisms are more confident and elegant. In addition to these details, the characters in the manga have really great facial expressions. There's scenes where you can tell how someone is feeling by their expressions alone, and this becomes especially important with Jun because he starts to slip and you can see how he might feel in certain situations through his body language and facial expressions alone. Okay, so now we're going to shift the review in the direction of the characters. And first we're going to start with Miko. Miko is your typical cute, naive shoujo girl, but she isn't over the top and she isn't annoying. She's just this very basic 17-year-old. And it's kind of weird because she reminds me of my sister, who is in fact 17. So, very on point. Miko's character is kind of useless in the beginning. I mean, she's not completely useless, but she's kind of useless, and I think that's the point. Because it's a coming-of-age story, and Miko has to learn new responsibilities like taking care of her health and doing her own chores. I also loved how relatable she was, since I was once a 17-year-old. I mean, it was a while ago, but still. As an example, Miko has this habit of putting adults on a pedestal. Adults are so cool. They know what they're doing. They don't make mistakes. Oh, honey. I mean, yes, that's how I saw adults when I was a teenager too, but anyone who has ever grown up knows that being an adult is literally nothing special. You're just older. I enjoyed watching Miko make that connection and realize that adults have troubles and insecurities too. Some are even relatable. And this growth that Miko experiences throughout the manga evolves her character. And I love that I can flip from the first volume to the 5th volume and I can actually see her growth. Okay, so now it's time to talk about my favorite character, who I might have a crush on, and that's Jun Matsunaga, the super cool, super hot graphic designer. I mean, yes, sometimes he's naggy and grumpy and nosy, but underneath all that, he has a super soft and squishy heart. As I mentioned earlier in the review, Jun can be thoughtless at times. For example, he never wears a shirt in the morning, which is pretty great for the readers, but he always sees Miko off before she heads to school. An adult woman would probably see a guy with his shirt off and it wouldn't be a big deal. But Miko is in high school and she has a crush on Jun, so initially she goes beet red and becomes embarrassed by it. This manga is full of these instances where Jun is absent-minded about Miko's age and does or says something that makes Miko embarrassed or makes her question Jun's feelings towards her. I find his character wonderfully supportive and kind. He can be a bit overprotective at times, but it comes from a caring place. As for Jun's appearance, I feel like it is very different compared to other male leads in shoujo. It's very modern. The way he dresses, his undercut, his glasses, they're all very stylish. But that also makes sense for his character too, because he's a graphic designer, so his style fits his character really well. Just a little end blurb before we move on. Jun is a graphic designer, and he often works from home, and as the title Living Room Matsunaga-san implies, he's always using the couch in the living room as his office. And this means there's lots of opportunities for Nico to bump into him. As for the rest of the housemates, they actually make up a good-sized portion of the story and offer lots of support to the main characters. I'd say that most of them are notable. There is one character whose only purpose seems to be comical relief, but the series is still ongoing, so there is plenty of time to learn more about them. My favorite of the supporting characters so far is Ryo Hojo. He's this quiet college boy, and he's kind of cute, I'm not gonna lie. He's the only person in the boarding house that Sabako, the kitty, he's the only person that Sabako likes, which is really funny because my cat Pumpkin hates everybody except for me. So Ryo and I, we share that in common. I feel like there's a lot to unpack still with the supporting characters. Even at the 5th volume mark, I feel there is still more to be learned, more secrets about their backstories and their personalities. So as I wrap things up, I want to touch on how easy and quick this manga was to read. The panels and dialogue are well placed and the scenes are very well written, especially the emotional scenes. I don't think that I mentioned this a lot in my review, but this manga is very funny, and I had a couple laugh out loud moments and chuckles while reading it. I am eager to read the rest of the series. May can't come fast enough. In summary, the first 5 volumes of this manga are amazing in all aspects. It overflows with sweet and comical moments, the art is beautiful and proportionate, and Iwashita sensei's facial expressions are so easy to read. The main and supportive characters are wonderfully designed, there wasn't a single character I disliked, and the storyline is captivating in that you don't want to put it down. Iwashita sensei does such a good job at teasing their audience. I highly recommend this manga, and I'm sure you're not surprised when I say that from what I've read so far, I'm giving this series 5 stars. If you're interested in reading the first chapter for free, you can do so at Kodansha Comics website, and I'll put the link in the description below. Just be warned that you might be tempted to buy the rest of the volumes after you read the chapter preview. And that, friends, is my manga review of volumes 1 through 5 of Living Room Matsunaga-san. This was really fun to write, although it was kind of stressful too. I'm hoping that writing reviews gets easier with practice. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comment section below, and I encourage and welcome constructive criticism so that I can write better reviews in the future. If you're interested in watching more videos from me, you can check out my end card where I'll have links to my most recent videos. I hope you all have a manga-nificent day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Nico is literally a carbon copy of my sister, and it's kind of freaky if I'm being honest.